I'm plugging this, aren't I? So I'm doing my plug.
But already we've learned a lesson, haven't we? Straight in with the plug, straight in there.
So what's the gist of the new book?
It's a collection of essays, so in a sense it doesn't really have a gist, but the title is meant to, as it were, stop the hijacking of the word soul and words like spiritual by the religion.
Yeah.
Because scientists like Carl Sagan and Jacob Bronowski are filled with soulful regard for scientific truth, and I am too.
So am I. It makes me laugh when people say things like, "Oh, don't you get a funny feeling though when you see a mountain or the stars?" I go, "Yeah, of course. I'm in awe of it. I'm in awe of nature." Yeah. And the more I understand it, the more in awe of it I am.
Well, that's Feynman again, isn't it? That great opening to The Wonderful Pleasure of Finding Things Out, which has been quoted so often, which is where he just says, I have a friend who's an artist, and sometimes he says something I don't agree with too well. He says, I, as an artist, when I see a flower, I see the beauty of a flower. But you, as a scientist, you pick it apart and it becomes a dull thing. And then over the next 2 paragraphs, he explains beautifully about the fact that to understand the aestheticism of the flower, why is it that colour? Is that colour to attract insects? Do insects therefore have an aesthetic sense? And he goes to a molecular level, an atomic level, and I think that is still between that and of course Demon Haunted World by Carl Sagan. They're 2 of the great examples of going.
Well, it's so
understanding funny. Doesn't take away the initial beauty.
Well, it's so funny. When I was doing my A levels, I'd been an atheist from about the age of 8, and I was doing my A levels, and I studied biology, physics, chemistry. I was saying to Robin, I went to university to study biology, but then changed to philosophy. A lot easier. There's a flower, when the bee lands on it, a little lever comes down and just puts a little bit of pollen on his back. And obviously I was having a bit of a crisis and, studying, and I just thought, that can't be by mistake. And I went up to my room and I was sweating for an hour. I was thinking, that's intelligent. And then I worked it through, I worked it back to, no, over 3.5 billion years, that everything's happened. It's just there was no will in that flower. There's no will to the bee, and I got back, but I can almost see why, with the diversity and the things that are true in science and nature, why that would blow someone's mind, and why they think, well, this can't be a mistake.
Yes, well, of course it's not a mistake, because natural selection is not a mistake.
No.
The Feynman case, which Robin quoted, is a little bit unfortunate because he used the colour red, which insects can't see. But if he'd chosen any other colour, it would have been great, or even ultraviolet.
That's interesting. I think it might. I wonder if that's been edited in the most recent copy.
I wonder if it has.
Yeah,
Good idea. Yes.
But then I wanted to ask, because have you mentioned flowers?
But we should explain to people what Richard means by natural selection is not a mistake.
Well, natural selection is a highly non-random process, and so everything about a living creature is not a mistake, in the sense that natural selection has been winnowing, filtering over many generations the best way to do it.
Exactly.
So the orchid that you're talking about has been filtered through countless generations of orchids. The ones that actually did the anvil trick were the ones that...
Well, this is the mistake that people do. They put a will to it. Just like when they, often I've spoken to people that know about the Big Bang, they agree with it, they agree with evolution, but they think that God started it. And that's because they're putting a will to what we would call nature. And I thought of a model to try and explain. I was talking to someone once that it's rather like if you put coins in a sorting machine, those coins aren't rushing to the right hole. They're going past the hole they can't get down, and they're falling down the hole they can fall down. And I think that's the mistake people make when they think that they confuse natural selection, that it's just luck or random, and how could that beetle get exactly the right number of legs, and it's just they haven't quite understood the process.